In order to find good buyers, you've got to learn how to, first of all, identify buyers that are not good for you or that are going to be difficult to deal with. Because ultimately, it's going to be a process of sieving through what you might want to call the wheat and chaff, separating the wheat from the chaff, the good from the bad. In other words, it is impossible for you to just find yourself in a situation where you just get approached by ideal clients all the time on a daily 24-hour basis or whatever. More often than not, what you will have is a system by which whatever marketing you do will bring you in contact with prospective clients, potential clients, people that potentially you would want to do business with, but then you would still have to check and be sure that they will be profitable to do business with. So in other words, to find good buyers, you need to first of all separate the one that will not be so good, because there will be some that will be. You should be able to develop a system that enables you to remove those ones that will not be suitable for you as buyers before you then begin to seriously consider the rest that will be left. So you need a recruitment system. You need it, and that recruitment system must include a screening process. Okay, and what I'm going to describe now will hopefully give you an idea of how to go about it. There are a variety of ways you can adopt or strategies you can adopt to do this. However, what I'm going to describe to you is designed to be basic for somebody who doesn't have access. First of all, I'm assuming here you're operating the way I operated when I was starting. You are at zero. It is said that he that is down need fear no fall. So it's like okay, look, I can only go up from here. That's the best I can do. I can go up from here. Nothing, it cannot get worse for me. In other words, from the ground up. So you're really here at a point where whatever works, you will embrace. So you're looking at how do I get buyers? And you're asking yourself, what can I do to get buyers when I have little or no money? I know nobody, I have no connections. I have no access to places where you want my final ideal clients instantly. So I'm really going to do all the work myself. But one thing I do have, I have competence. I have a solution that I'm convinced that people need, but I need to find the right people. So what you do is, first of all, develop this recruitment system. So the recruitment system involves one, creating information and education that will make people that potentially might be interested in what you have, what we call pre-qualified prospects, discover you. They will notice you, discover you, approach you or reach out to you, and from there you have an opportunity to close the sale. All right, that's a process that can take as little as 1 minute to as long as a year or even more. It all depends on what you're selling, how you're selling, where you are selling, and so many other things. But like I said, you have to have a system. So now, the most important part of this process, because remember, you don't have much money or you don't have any money at all. So you want to make sure you make efficient use of your time. You don't want to have your time wasted. So the first thing you want to do is put in a system that removes time wasters. Remember, you don't have money, so you're not having a system that's going to help you probably attract the right kind of people immediately. Okay, so you're going to have a system that may probably even bring some people who will just be curious, sniffing around. We call them time wasters. How do you get rid of time wasters? You don't want, this is you only have how many hours in a day, and then you're putting up all this your marketing stuff and doing all this, and you don't have much money. Then somebody comes and just gets into a conversation with you, calls you up on phone, makes you have meetings upon meetings, and then tells you, when I'll get back to you, I'll get back to you soon, and you never hear from them. When you go through that 10, 20 times in a week or a month, it can be very, very demoralizing. Everything I just said now has happened to me. So it's important to have a system, a screening system that helps you to know, is this person a serious prospect? You don't want people that are curious. You don't want people that just want to test you. You want people that actually need the solution you offer, whatever it might be, a product or a service. So what you do is let's assume, for example, you adopt a strategy similar to what I recommend. All right, so you decide, okay, I'm going to use article marketing. So thankfully, you got a space on the web. Even if you don't have your own website, you got some free space. One of the free hosting services. and then you put up your content, you put up a blog and begin to write. Luckily, as you're writing, because you're good at what you do and you're good at your writing, not academic writing now, please. You put up your stuff, you begin to write your articles on whatever your subject is. In my case, I was writing a lot about custom software development, and I wasn't writing from the perspective of a developer trying to educate other developers. I was writing from the perspective of a developer with an industry relevant perspective, in which I was looking at how my solutions will solve problems for people on their jobs. So I was looking at mainly business owners at whatever level of operation, no matter how big the company was, corporate executives that had jobs that required them to make smart use of data. So data handling, recording, analysis, and decision making, report generating needs. They had all those kinds of needs. So I was writing about how spreadsheet automation using Excel Visual Basic could be used to improve their lives, to save them time, save them effort, and things like that. And I would use charts, I would use video demos, and at a point I even began to create demo applications that were designed to solve those problems. I had no clients, right? So what I did was to create demos by kind of visualizing what the typical client in a particular industry needed, and then creating a demo software that did that. And then I recorded a video of it, and then I went around. At that time, like I said, I did a lot of payment planning, but I tried to put a lot of my stuff on the web. I came on online in 2005. I began to do that. What I found out happened, and that's why I'm telling you this is a good way to go, is it got a lot of people to begin to make inquiries. I mean, I got inquiries from as far as the USA, different parts of the world. But many times, most of these people were not very ready to do anything with me. Thankfully, because they were interacting remotely, it wasn't a problem, relating to them and getting rid of them for the most part. But a few were interested. However, on the Nigerian end, I found a lot of people were very naughty. And so I found myself, and at that time I wasn't wise to the antics of people. So, and I'm sharing this aspect of the experience I had, because that's what's going to help you to be able to screen time wasters. I want you to understand the implication of not being able to screen out time wasters. All right. So these people, I wasn't wise to their antics, and they would call me up. I mean, I would literally move from my Bagara Estate family house residence, and I would drive all the way down to Victoria Island. I mean, that was a distance. Oh, wow. And I would have to deal with traffic and all that, only to sit with this gentleman and this lady. These were not young, not children. These were adults, older than I was. And they would occupy me for 2-3 hours, asking me questions supposedly about the project they had in mind, but actually never intended to hire me. All they were doing, they were sizing me up, because they had activities they were engaged in as an organization, in which they were doing stuff for people in terms of training and other things with Excel. To an extent, it seemed they were trying to pick my brains if possible. They weren't sure what it was I was offering. They had gone online and checked me out, and they just wanted to just meet with me and just see how much of it. I don't know whether they thought of me as a threat. I have no idea. All I know is that it was clear after about 2 interactions, they were just wasting my time. There were some that even went further than that, who wanted to exploit me by taking what I had in terms of my content, my intellectual property from me. These were adults, people with gray hair, and they tried to set me up. Luckily, my sister was kind of already aware of that, and she called me. And when I told her I was having this meeting with these people who said they were interested in some of the stuff I was doing, she warned me and took me to a lawyer who told me bluntly, "Chairman, if you ever let them get a hold of this stuff you just showed me, I assure you that is what they want from you. The minute they get it from you, they're going to dump you." And you know what? If I didn't even believe it, just about 2 weeks later, these guys tried to do exactly what the lawyer told me. It was just like it was like the guy had read out from a script they were going to use. So what I'm trying to tell you is this: you've got to have a screening process in place. The first thing you have to do, make them jump through hoops to get to you. So one example, somebody's interested in what you have to offer. Make it a requirement. He's the one that wants it, right? You know you are up to the task. You know you have the competence to deliver the solution. So no problems. You are ready for anybody anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You have no problems responding to anybody, but you don't want to have your time wasted. So what do? Let the person prove themselves worthy of your time and attention. How? Make the person do the work. So the first thing I make people do, and this is this I started out by actually being the one doing it, but I switched when I saw people were wasting my time. I used to be the one that would call people up. I used to do callbacks. I would actually be the one to call people up, do cold calls. If somebody made an inquiry on my website, I would be the one to actually call the person. I would take the number and call the person. Sometimes in other countries, I actually did it for many years. But when I began to notice this thing, okay, I did it for about 1 or 2 years. Then when I began to notice, I switched and said, "You call me." It's very interesting. Now that would have seemed counterintuitive, right? It would have looked a bit impolite. These are people that are interested. The customer is always right. That's what people say. Nope, the customer is not always right. By the way, we'll get to that in a different episode. So the thing is, I realized that it wasn't wise, given the kind of solution I was selling, to let people to call people up. It was better to make people call me, and then I will reward them in some other way to make it worth their while to do so. So long as, of course, they proved to be serious prospects. And so I had these products. I had a special report, and I'll give you a copy of this report, because apparently you're calling me along the lines of stuff contained in this report. So you get this free report when you call me, just for calling me. But you call me, let me ask you a few questions. Now, I have a set of questions I've prepared. They're not like cast in stone, but they're key questions I ask. Then as I converse with the person, I might decide on other questions to throw in as well. All those questions are designed to help me really assess the degree of readiness and seriousness of this potential buyer. So whenever I put out this message and the person made an inquiry, I put out my stuff, and the person wrote in or called in or whatever, or emailed in, I would then say, "Please call me." And I would always make it easy, because if you want to test people's seriousness, you make it easy for them also to take up your challenge. So don't tell them, "Call me at this time," because these are people coming from different parts of the world. And of course, they are so busy, they all have different time schedules. So the best thing is be available constantly. This is for my kind of solution. You have to decide on what works for you. But if you want to sell, you want to make yourself as available as possible. So in my case, I just said 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I'll take your call. If you want to let me know upfront that you're going to call me, do so, and I'll keep my phone next to me. Other than that, whenever I see my phone ring, I always pick it up, and it's never off. So I began to get calls. It's interesting, because they were calling on their own time and using their own resources. I found that a higher percentage, much higher percentage of people that were calling me were people that actually were ready to buy. So I found that I increased dramatically my ability to convert my inquirers into pre-qualified prospects and clients, by using that method, by switching it around. Yet I also found that it inspired more confidence after they had encountered my material online, my information, videos, audios, write-ups, and all of that, special reports. They came now in contact with me, and I was saying, "Call me." That suggested some level of self-confidence, self-assuredness that inspired them further. Then by the time they spoke with me, of course, I was able to meet them in terms of responding to the inquiries they had. And you know that I have more than 70% conversion rate. If 10 people called me, I would actually convert 7 of them, sometimes more. That's how good the system was, but also how good I am about communicating the value to my prospective buyer. But the system that I put in place enabled me to have that kind of a high conversion rate, because my system repelled some people who were not serious in the first place. Remember, somebody that wants to waste your time doesn't want to use their money to do that. It doesn't benefit them. Somebody that knows is not ready to buy doesn't want to call you. So I've had people that will stay on WhatsApp with me and start sitting, let's talk on WhatsApp, let's talk, and I just laugh. You want to talk to me about a product that costs $65, $100, or $375 equivalent, and yet you cannot place a call of 2 to 3 minutes to speak with me. Some of them are right here in the same country with me. Some are just in some other country. How much is $1? And then you want to make a 3-minute phone call to me, and that's a problem for you. You can't buy my product. It's such simple logic, but many of them don't see it. They don't see what it says. If you are truly serious about buying, you will not mind investing 1 to 3 minutes to make a call to whoever the prospective seller is, anywhere on the planet, in order to verify whatever these issues you're not clear about. You would not. Anybody that has a problem with doing that with making a call, a simple call to you, so that you can ask several questions of him or her, is unlikely to be a very good prospect. They are most likely just fishing for information or just fooling around. We call them time wasters, like I said. So this is the first step. Set up a system that screens out bad prospects, because there will be bad prospects. For some strange reason, there are some human beings who go around doing that. The thing is, you have to protect yourself from them. Remember, you have nothing. You are just starting from ground zero. You have minimal resources, and you want to make efficient, cost-effective, and efficient use of your resources. You don't want to waste them. The more you use your time, energy, and resources to attend to time wasters, the more you lose, the less chances you have of finding the right people to sell. So you want to increase your chances of selling by only focusing your attention on the serious prospects. Right? So that's the first step in the system. I'll go on to the next step in the next episode. Cheers.